For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a brand new product from Dometic. So with me here today, I've got the Dometic Portico Air 180S Canopy. Essentially what it is, it's a really nice kind of new kind of concept. It's probably took a lot of inspiration from Isabella's kind of version of it, just being air, so it's a little bit easier to pitch and certainly from a price point, probably a bit more affordable. But it's a really nice little option to give you a canopy for those shorter weekend stays when you don't want to put up a kind of a little porch awning in total. What we've got really here is quite a smart little kind of brow canopy design. Goes over the front door and just gives you a bit of coverage so the rain's not coming directly down if you have the door open, or have a fly mesh in place behind the door to allow that circulation of air come in nice and neatly. It's completely inflatable, hence the air and kind of the name. So you've got a single inflation point which is located just down here, and it pumps up the whole main rib itself. You've also, what you've got is extra stability beams that are welded in place that press directly against the Caravan to give you that extra bit of stability where you want to go. The name as it refers is 180, so it means 180 centimeters or 1.8 meters width. So it gives you a good basis to go from. And again, joys of it is because you can really manipulate it, pull it forward or back, depending on where you want it to sit in the actual rail itself. Until its overall depth away from the Caravan, it's about 50 centimeters. And actually, what they've really done quite nicely is give it a really nice high pitch roof. Reason this is make sure that when you actually open the door, you can actually open the door, obviously it depends on the Caravan, but you're not going to necessarily catch anything or in terms of the fabric in there, as you can see. So that works really quite well. You've got this nice kind of helmet kind of thing down the side of it to give you a real nice placing point directly. And I think there's a few details that I think they've been very clever with doing is they really kind of have thought about it. So things like having storage pockets either side internally, so you can put things like phones or anything, or even sort of guide points, shoes, that way you can access them quite nice and neatly before you step out onto the point. Dog leads, anything like that works really nicely. Other things you've got to mention is you've got storm straps which you can buy additionally to give you a bit more bracing, which I would probably recommend. Certainly if you're kind of a bit more in an exposed part, you have a bit more tendency to kind of shift a little bit, so those extra belts and braces I think will make a really nice big difference. Other things to mention as well is quite clever in the way it attaches to the van itself, so feeds into your rail like you would with any normal Caravan awning, but when it drops down here you've got an option of actually feeding it into your draft skirt rail, so you can quite nice and easily basically feed a section into the draft skirt rail and then tension it, so that way you can get a bit more of a solid connection directly down, and then it sits nice and firmly against the Caravan. You've also got this extra bit here with a pre-punched hole, so you can also utilise Dometic's limpet system to put a limpet in there, which you would buy additionally to fix it against there. For me, I would probably, you need to make sure it's a completely flat surface. This is slightly ridged, so a limpet's not going to work in that. But if you're on, say, like a motorhome or something like that, I can totally understand why it would work. But alternatively, if you don't have a rail and you don't want to limpet it, you can merely just kind of peg it directly down. So what you do is the little loop, basically the buckle and the clip can create a little loop, and again you can just peg it into the ground, clip it directly in, so you've got a complete loop, and then again you can still tension it to still get in sitting nice and smartly against the actual Caravan or whatever you're putting it on. You've also got little Velcro tabs located on here for adding additional lighting if you wanted to. You're not, to be honest, going to fit kind of like the Sabre 150s, because that's going to be too long. You might get 30, you'd probably get a 48 in there, just about, or alternatively go for the kind of flexible ones and sort of just run it nice and directly around it, so that works well as well. PVC windows either side to get a little bit more light directly into the Caravan, so you don't feel completely boxed in. And actually, Dometic have used their kind of their Pro Shield, Pro Weather Shield material, so it's the same as they use in kind of their touring awnings. It's a really good sort of 300D material, and obviously nice and waterproof. Let's pick the camera up actually and kind of get a bit more up close and personal with the Portico. But you can see probably, like I said, from the 180 size, I think looks really quite smart. Again, you position it where you want it. So I've just tucked it between the window and the door, so I can still utilise the side window. But again, because you can manipulate it as you want to, again, you can do what you wish. You've still got an eyelet located at the top, and it just protrudes out a little bit. But you see how kind of really quite smart and how far out it sits on there to give you that extra little bit of stability. Down the bottom, we can see obviously the clip, and then we've got this extra pad with that hole punch ready for those limpets if you wanted to. And on the inside, storage pockets, which you can get a good amount in there, or even a frisbee for that case. And again, same on the opposite side, so mirror image of one another. As we look at there, we've got that additional beam that runs directly into it, an extra Velcro tabs located directly onto there, and again all the way around the very top part. So it's in very simplistic design, but works really quite effectively. And as previously mentioned, like I said, when you have the door kind of sort of open, you can see there is quite a good amount of swinging room above it. Like I said, it does depend on the part itself, just to give you that kind of full idea. Now, like I said, you get a pump included with the actual awning. So it's just a generic kind of almost like downdraft kind of pump. So normally tends to have a pressure gauge on top of it, so you can just regulate the pressure. You're only looking to probably go in a region about sort of 8 or 9 psi, I would say, will be perfectly fine. But that works really quite nicely as well. And you've also got quite small and compact. Comes in a little bag with its own pegs. So it doesn't really take an awful lot of room, and it only weighs about 4.98 kilograms. So again, it's really quite light and perfect. You can just obviously sling up and sling down when you wanted to. I've done a little pitching video. I think it took me in a region like 3 minutes to pitch. And most of that, if I'm being honest, was more down to talking than actually doing. But you know, you could in theory use an electric pump on it. Personally, I would say it's a bit of an overkill. Didn't require an awful lot of pumping because it's not actually, even though you've got a good sort of solid structure in the tube, it's not actually that much volume in there. So it doesn't really take an awful lot to get it sort of fully nice and taut and sort of stiff from that point. But yeah, I think all in all, it's a really nice addition. I think it works really well, and it certainly offers something that you don't really see else in the market, not certainly at the price point and in air. But for more information, by all means, check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to the website. We've got all the latest offers and prices, as well as specification things like pack sizes, floor dimensions, individual features all listed for you, as well as obviously the optional storm straps you can add to it, and all the some other things as well to go with it. Our pitching video is also located there, so you can always check that out if you can't necessarily find it otherwise. But all in all, I think it's a great addition, something that I think, yeah, it's one of those things you didn't know you need until you see it. So I think that works really quite nicely. But for more questions, queries, or concerns, feel free to comment in the box below. We always love to hear feedback from you guys as well. And like I said, for more information, just contact us directly. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we shall see you soon in the next video.